Agenda where's that bill?
Guys, welcome to the episode Into the West Comics. My name is Frank. Sonny is here.
What it do, baby? Hey.
Hey, baby.
Hey.
All right. The hot dog, corn dog Paul is here.
What it do, baby?
Hey, all right.
Growing the beard right back.
Yep.
We'll be back by the end of the show. It'll be
yeah,
back.
Probably.
We got the birthday boy, Austin.
Happy birthday to
Austin.
you.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
We're gonna go take you out for milkshakes tonight.
Yes, we are.
Wink. Over there in the lounge, the Exclusivo lounge, we've got the big hog.
What it do,
And-
baby? And happy birthday to Austin, my man.
Hey,
Thank you.
They don't have
Yeah.
milkshakes at the pizza place. We shouldn't go there.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to rethink some things. And
Happy birthday.
You really want to go to the
and
pizza?
also there,
Sonny just tried to do.
It's not
Yeah.
what I want today. It's what you want, buddy.
Happy
Oh.
birthday.
over there, he's crooning. I think his birthday crooner. We have
Happy birthday.
legs are looking good. The shorts are looking short. Uncle nephew Shane.
I like how you have
Little
three
milkshake.
Trulies next to you.
All
Happy
right.
birthday
Thank you, Shane.
to you, baby.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. And I wanted to take a moment to thanks, Shane. I wanted to take a moment to introduce our special guest. When I spoke to him about a month ago, he said, I heard a rumor that episode 5 of Ahsoka is going to be directed by Filoni. So you know it's going to slap.
Oh, yeah.
I really would like to be on for that week when you guys are talking about that episode. So he is here all the way from North Carolina. Please welcome from Kessel Run Comics, Mac.
What it do,
Hey.
Mac?
Hey.
Good to have you, G.
My man. Thanks for taking some time to hang out with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm pumped up to talk some Star Wars and comics, always.
Oh,
Boom.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
We're already off to a good start.
Look at all my comics in the background.
Yeah,
Mess.
he's surrounded by comics.
They're
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, that kind of looks like my room.
Yeah, man. Everybody's got a room that looks like this if you're a big enough comic collector.
Yeah, that's
Accurate.
my office.
Yeah,
That
it's-
has Funko
it's,
Pops everywhere.
Yes.
I like it. He was
Yeah, I
talking
was
about
gonna say there's a few of those too.
No, I see.
That's right. Representing. I mean, let's get right to this. This past week, we got, I guess, I'd say it was probably the coolest episode so
Yeah.
far of this show.
Absolutely handsome.
You know, with some big moments, some major callbacks. I'm gonna start with our guest, Mac. What did you think about this episode, and what have you been thinking about this series so far?
So series so far took a little bit to warm up. Of course, they started us off with 2 episodes because they knew not only was it going to kind of get off to a slow start, and then about the middle of the series, 3, definitely by episodes 4 and 5, I was speculating were going to be pretty heavy meat and potato episodes. Some real good grub there. But of course, based on what we have set up for episodes 6, 7, and 8, we know it's just going to rip it up. And I mean, I would be really, really shocked if the way everybody has loved this episode almost unanimously across the board, I'd be really shocked if they were to capitalize not only the way they did from episode 4 to 5, but then continue that momentum with 6, 7, and 8. So I'm expecting a little bit of a downturn, but nothing that's going to really halt any kind of momentum for the series, because we've still yet to see Thrawn or Ezra, and everybody's pumped up to see those guys.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Just
For
to
sure.
see them on camera for the first time
Yeah.
would be,
Live
It's going to be
action.
pretty
yeah,
epic.
that'd be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen Thrawn already at least once, but I think with the
I mean,
trajectory, it's I get it now. You know,
Yeah, I hope we see him before the last episode.
I hope
Yes,
it's not just the
please.
last
Yeah.
episode.
Like the last scene of the last episode, and then it goes to
No,
black.
I would like it to not be a well, hold on for the next
Yeah.
thing kind
Yeah.
of thing. I would like to
Mhm.
actually have this.
So it's not confirmed though about a part 2 of this.
No,
I don't
like
know.
a season 2. Well,
Mhm.
they're talking about doing a movie.
the Heir to the Empire movie with
Yeah.
Filoni.
Right.
With Filoni.
Oh, so that could be the
They
continuation.
already announced it at the
Yeah.
Star Wars,
Star Wars Celebration last year.
So
or
I
this
think-
year.
If we don't get a season 2, it will be
Yeah.
that. But also, if this is like wildly successful, which I don't know from like a viewership standpoint how it's been doing, I'm sure it's been doing well. They probably will do a second season. They were talking about doing a second season of Obi-Wan. So
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Paul's right. They said that outright they were going to just kind of let it be a limited series, just kind of let it be one season, give you, that core kind of Ahsoka, what she's doing in this Mandoverse type era. And as we all know, they're including, Ahsoka, Mando, Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, and maybe another show that I've heard some rumors through the grapevine about, but I don't know any kind of confirmation about that. And just kind of pulling all those together to eventually come to that final conclusion climax of an Heir to the Empire movie. But they did say, a lot of execs at Disney and everything have said that if this really does all that well, not only with critics, but also with the fans, they would be stupid not to do a season 2.
For sure.
And they could
Yeah.
easily find some story to tell with Ahsoka and these other characters that they're utilizing in her series to continue going with the show.
yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
No, I agree. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was gonna say that gives me hope for Thrawn having more to do with this season,
Sure.
because if they aren't outright planning on a second season, they are. I would assume it would behoove them
yeah.
Good
to,
word.
Maybe
Wow.
like-
to actually
Right.
have it be in this season.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
maybe
I mean?
those last 3 episodes are just like Thrawn based, maybe because now
Yeah.
they're going to be in that other galaxy. So maybe it's just he's the main villain. He's going to be in every episode.
We're in a
something
world
like that.
between worlds.
Ryan
Yeah.
said
Cute.
Chopper spinoff.
Chopper.
A Chopper
spin-off.
spinoff. That'd be great. Season 2, the Chopper Chronicles. Over there in the Exclusivo Lounge, Dre, Shane, you guys have watched this. You guys are Ahsoka, right?
We are definitely Ahsoka.
We are
Okay.
extremely Ahsoka.
Okay. So, what have you thought so far? What did you think of that last episode?
I'm Ahsoka right now.
Oh my-
I
oh
don't
my
understand
God.
how General Syndulla doesn't lose her gig. I mean, she's
yeah.
out. I mean, let's be serious. I mean,
could've
she's
got fired.
disobeying every order
Hey,
except
Shane,
the most important
Shane.
order. I'm sorry.
He can't hear.
with hips like that, man, she ain't getting canceled. I promise you that. I can promise you that.
That's a prime directive as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
You're gonna fit along just fine around here.
she's fantastic. She wants to come down to earth and hang out with me.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway, it was great. I loved it.
Oh my gosh. What about the? Anakin. Being
Yeah.
able to see Anakin, these different
God, that was
versions of
great.
him throughout these flashbacks. That. Oh my gosh.
It was great.
Yes,
The episode was ridiculous. It blew my mind, man.
Hayden Christensen kind of redeemed himself as Anakin, I think. Like his way
Yeah.
he did it, his way his acting was. I just felt like it was kind of like, because as my childhood, it was kind of like he was like the
Oh,
main,
yeah.
like he was our guy
No,
growing
for
up
sure.
as a kid.
Same.
So it was kind of cool seeing him kind of in that same form, and then see him in that Clone Wars garb.
Yeah.
It was really cool because growing up as a kid, you just see an animated form. It was really cool seeing Hayden Christensen be in that same form as well.
What
There
was
was-
Dre saying? Dre, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was saying as a cinematographer, the scene where he's walking away.
Yeah.
and then
Oh
the
my God,
blast, I
bro.
think it's a silhouette. Blast lit up. Blast Vader. Blast right back.
So
That
cool.
was
Right.
And
amazing.
then him coming over, even the voice that he had when he said, "You have no conviction," or no, what?
Yeah, something
I think
like
it's
that.
like that.
Yeah.
You lack
and
conviction.
The voice of
Yeah.
Vader, like kind of,
He looked insane.
and
Yeah.
just
Well,
the overall. I mean,
Didn't he say that
absolutely.
to Obi-Wan in Revenge of the
I
Sith?
don't know.
Amazing.
I don't remember that.
It's been
remember.
said.
It seems like a line that's been
Yeah.
said before.
Conviction.
I think the coolest part is we see a lack of like
Conviction?
lightsaber. Oh, I should have just said that. Lightsaber skills and fighting And then you see Anakin kind of
was
fight
great.
like how they were in the
Yeah.
old movies. You know what I mean? So like
It was really good.
like actual like
Yeah.
dueling versus like I guess like a I don't know fencing.
or like a dance. It was kind of more like
Right.
it was
yeah,
like a real
it's like
fight.
fluid. You know?
No, I thought that their dynamic was cool to see. I mean, the actress, I forgot the actress's name, but she's the one that played the young
Yeah.
Gamora in Infinity
I was
And
gonna
she
War.
was in
drop that.
Barbie
She's
as
playing,
well.
she's in Barbie. She's
stole
playing
that
the
from me.
younger version of Ahsoka.
Mhm.
Yes.
She did
Right.
great.
She did a great job.
It was really good.
Would you say she did better than Rosario Dawson?
I think, I think she sold lines
Yeah.
better than Rosario Dawson. I don't know. Rosario Dawson's
rude.
performance has been very strange to me through this. I haven't hated it. It's just there's something
She's
she
just
does.
like-
Like,
But
I
I
thought she lightened up.
she
a
was
little
definitely
bit.
better,
At the
especially at the
end.
end of this episode. She was way better.
because I
She-
Ahsoka
because
the White.
I was telling Paul before the show started, kind of like I feel like she had like her final like she never got to talk to Anakin at like the end. They kind of just said goodbye. She finally had that last kind of like, okay, I can be my own person now.
Mhm.
It was kind of like that.
Right.
Okay, I can let go of that tension.
yeah, it seemed like she got to
Right.
have a little more fun at the end of the
Yeah,
episode.
like she was
where
just joking.
Well, and I saw somebody, I don't remember who, was like, it's not Rosario's acting, it's the way she's being directed,
Mm.
which I think is, or at least written, I think that's probably
Could be fair.
true. Where she's being like a curmudgeon and
Yeah.
being
Mm.
all stoic and like trying to.
Paul hated the arm fold.
Oh yeah, she looks like a dweeb when she does that. When she every time she folds her arms like this,
Brutal
she's
arm
just like,
fold.
I don't know.
Paul couldn't stand the arm fold.
She looks like a dweeb, but I mean, I did enjoy. Don't get it twisted. I really enjoyed this.
You gave
last
it an
episode.
8.
I did.
We're talking about real quick about the chat. Comic Cap Collectibles is saying in there that still kind of shocked that they chose her for the role. I wanted to shout out a couple people there in the chat. Tanya, of course, she's with us every week. Austin is in there. Not this Austin, but Austin Lean is in there. Fire Guy Ryan, of course, who may have just jumped off because he didn't want to hear any spoilers
Yeah,
about what
Yeah,
we're doing.
Yeah.
Probably, he'll be back.
Tanya, Phil, Timmy. Tim said his wife was excited to watch her. She woke up and said, "I can't wait for the show tonight."
Oh, nice.
Sorry for
This
spilling
was
water.
pretty
I'm
good. Sorry for throwing the water at,
for
at
spilling
dinner.
water at
It was
dinner.
great. Marcel's in
I
there.
remember that,
We had to
yeah.
change tables.
And we appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, we're here with Mac from Kessel Run Comics. I talked to Phil, Once You're Nerd King, Mac, and I said, yeah, I think in like the 5th or 6th episode, we're supposed to have Mac on. He goes, oh boy. He goes, dude. He goes, you got the right guy lined up to be on for that. Because yeah. Mm-hmm. And I've seen you before as a guest on some other stuff to do with Theo, what some of the stuff that Phil does with Theo, and we're just excited for you to be here. As far as these World Between Worlds, how did you? What did you think about that? Some of that stuff, the jumping from the different phases, seeing some live action version of Clone
Very
Wars
cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
Right. I really, really liked the conversations that were being had. I think on the surface level for Star Wars fans, whether you're somebody who has experienced Clone Wars or not, I think it was really exciting to kind of see, like you said, those different versions and the character progression through the story or through Ahsoka's lifetime of the different battles and the different moments that she's experienced in the history of Star Wars on a greater scale. But I think the thing that really stood out to me and that impacted me the heaviest about that episode, especially when I rewatched it about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago in preparation for the show, was the conversations in each one that were happening when she was young Ahsoka and she was kind of experiencing all that stuff with, holding the hand of the clone. And when she was having that kind of discussion of, I wrote down the quote that Anakin said to Ahsoka and said, "Do you even want a Padawan?" Because she made a comment that was like, well, all I have to pass on to my Padawan one day is how to fight or how to be involved in a war, how to be a warrior in essence. And that was probably the one that impacted me the most. But each time they were having a conversation and there were questions, it was more important about the questions that were being asked, not only by Ahsoka, but also by Anakin. And everybody can see the obvious reason why Ahsoka and Anakin are having this conversation, this appearance and happenstance in the world between worlds is because Ahsoka's still dealing with all the survivor's guilt and her feeling like she's partially responsible for the fall of Anakin Skywalker, just all these different things, but that being the main one. But the little ones are like, she's dealing with the whole thing with Sabine of, can I train her? Should I train her? And then I didn't write anything else down other than the other quote was, "You're part of a legacy." I feel like that's something that's not talked about enough in Star Wars, but me and my buddies talk about it all the time. I'm like, man, if you were part of, one of these two different legacies in Star Wars, I feel like you're just bound to be a goated character. Because you've got the A lineage, I like to say, which is, Yoda to Dooku to Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan to Anakin and then to Ahsoka, and now from there to Sabine. But then you've got the B that I don't think as many people think about. You've got Yoda into Mace Windu you've got Yoda into a comic character named Suslin Murr, who's Mirialan or Mirialan, whichever you like to say, kind of like Luminara and Barasafi. Okay. That same species. She was the master of Mace Windu. But then the ones everybody knows is you've got from Mace Windu to Kanan Jarrus's master Depa Billaba to Kanan Jarrus to Ezra. Like that is in and of itself a very goated lineage or legacy of Jedi. And so I feel like that's something that I was really, really happy to see brought up and mentioned in a big way, even though it was for just a matter of seconds. It was just kind of reminding not only the characters in universe, obviously, through the conversation, but also us as the audience. Like Star Wars is very, very heavy on legacy and mentorship, even if it's not master and apprentice from the light side or dark side. There are other characters. I wish I would have thought about coming up with an example before coming on the show. But I mean, with the rogues, with, the smugglers, I mean, there's always that kind of mentor-esque relationship in Star Wars, whether it's heavy, like I said, master and apprentice on dark side or light, or just kind of teaching moments. And I think, I don't want to take up too much time on this question. The very last thing I want to say is I think that's what makes Ezra such a compelling character for so many people is you've got, his obvious Jedi training with Kanan, but then you've got Darth Maul vying to make him his apprentice. I'm sorry for those of you who haven't watched Rebels. I assume I know all these guys have, but for any of you in the audience, but you've got Darth Maul vying to bring him on as his apprentice. You've got Hondo Ohnaka, who teaches him or further kind of nurtures that rogue and criminal kind of side, or I guess soothsayer side of Ezra. And you've got kind of, I guess, Vizago might be considered like a slight mentor too, or somebody who he's got like a little bit of a, maybe not quite a mentor or even a parent relationship, but one of those close friends who almost kind of feels like an older brother. So you've got all these different characters, especially for Ezra, that kind of add something to the character and the person he is and becomes.
Fair. Good point.
I love it.
That was, I was going to say mic drop.
Yeah.
How are you going to follow that one up?
I don't really. I do think, to give kind of like a, maybe like the flip side of the coin for me, I think Star Wars is very much, especially now, built on all that lineage stuff. That's some of the stuff that I personally don't love about the Jedi Order. I think it made it like an elitist kind of thing, and you have to be this and have to be involved with this or the other thing. But with that said, I think that the way that they are fleshing it out and kind of like actually acknowledging it and talking about the way it works and who you are and where you come from and why that's important. Although it's not my favorite thing in the world, I do think it's compelling and very interesting, and it makes these characters come together a little tighter than they did maybe in the prequels for me. So I do agree. I think taking a deeper look at that legacy and what each character means to the other is one of the more interesting things about this show. So I would 100% agree with that being very compelling, especially with the flashback stuff.
Yeah.
So we only got 3 more episodes. So Mando's
Yeah.
like
There's only
not,
3 episodes.
Mando's not showing up,
Oh,
right?
it's next episode.
Maybe next.
The season finale. The season finale. I'm just kidding.
Season finale is the Mando
comes.
episode.
Yeah,
We don't need Mando.
You don't need
No,
more
I
Mando.
get it. I get it. It was, I think just with all of these characters, it would be cool to see in this movie or whatever project coming out, if all of them kind of like Avengers it
The
up.
kind of Disney plus averse Avengers.
Yeah, I think it would be
That would
pretty
be-
cool.
They don't need
See,
another.
I think that's something they're saving for the heir to the empire.
Yeah,
They'll do
probably.
that.
Yeah,
I
more
mean,
than
they're
likely.
gonna have that moment.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
That'll be cool.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
it would
you kind of reminded me about kind of like a callback. You're talking about like people being in that mentor role. What could have been with the sequel trilogy, with Rey kind of considering like going on working with Han Solo,
Yeah.
and just going tagging
Right.
around with her and with him, and then ultimately what caused her bond with Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't actually see these guys together as father and son until Kylo is killing him.
Yeah.
So
Right.
she doesn't ever see the father son type of dynamic, and she isn't wanted, and she tries to find a way to sort of bond and find somebody who's in that mentor
Yeah.
role. The whole new generation, other than Leia, the old generation doesn't really want her.
Right.
They all sort of rejected her. Luke is just a mean old
Dude, he's just a mean
my
old guy.
gosh.
Right? You know what I mean?
he is grumpy.
Grumpy for sure.
Bro. Yeah, but
The lightsaber
yeah, you
stuff.
made me think about that. Yeah, I think that this, like the way that we talk about the Plus shows, and you go back and rewatch something. Mac had mentioned that he already rewatched this episode, like the last couple of hours. That this episode will be one of those, I think, that you go back through and you're like, I didn't notice that. Something I noticed in the credits when I watched it the second time yesterday was that they list him as Captain and
Commander.
and Commander X. I thought that was cool.
Because two different battles.
Yep. And they had the 2 different uniforms.
Yeah.
They had the old school helmet.
And then
the
the
first one.
last
Right.
scene that kind of spoke to me that I don't know if everyone kind of got, but for me, it was kind of like when they were fighting at the end and she was kind of like ready to kill him. I kind of felt like that was if she was with him at the end. I don't feel like he would turn to the dark side. That was kind of like an homage if she was still with him. Like she didn't go to battle with the Mandalorians.
Oh.
I feel like that she could actually like keep him from turning to the dark side.
Oh, maybe.
And
Kinda
it
like at
was
the
really
end.
cool because when they were fighting and she kind of seemed like she was pushing in to kill him, like you can kind of see her eyes were kind of turning, or it might have been just the glare of the lightsaber. But then Anakin closes his and he kind of turns back to good Anakin. It's just really cool, like the little
was an
redemption
amazing
arc.
scene,
It was
man.
really cool. I liked all that,
Right.
and you do see like after like whatever training was done. I like the effect of the water kind of like purifying her or whatever, and she kind of comes out on the other end. What was that? Ahsoka the White. Like,
Yeah.
with the
I cried.
That's a really good.
Frank,
Yes, sir.
I cried.
You
Did you?
I
cried?
did.
No, I didn't cry.
No, I mean
It was emotional.
It was emotional.
Yeah.
I cried at General Zendula.
Zendula, you don't even know the name.
Green lady with the
green
hips.
lady.
Green lady with the hips.
So I told you guys.
Sorry, Paul.
No, it's fine. I told you guys this when I was watching it. Full disclosure, the scenes where they're walking around discovering what happened last episode,
skip.
I skipped them. I literally skipped them.
Why?
Because it was boring. I was watching them discover something that I already knew, and that really gave nothing to the show for me. And I enjoyed the episode more because I skipped it. And then when the kid's standing on the edge of the cliff and he's like,
How do you even know if you?
"Oh, maybe I don't know." You know,
That's what
you're
I'm
right,
saying,
but
yeah,
I'm
like-
bored and I'm not watching it anymore. So, sorry. Did
That's what
I
I feel
miss
about.
anything?
That's
Or
what I
were
feel
they
about
just-
It was
Lord of the
Jason,
Rings.
It was Jason kind of saying, "Okay, I can feel like he has."
I saw that part with him
Yeah.
standing at the end of the
That's good.
cliff and him like,
I
"Ooh,
can
I'm
hear
listening to
them.
the lightsabers
It's a good
go
thing.
off and whatever." But the other part where they're like, "Last time I saw her, she had this. Where's this?"
I like
was just
Jason.
I was like, all right.
You don't like Jason, Paul?
I think that kid is a terrible actor. I think the kid that played Ahsoka, Sonny said same.
You don't like him?
No, he's like looks off weirdly,
And he
it's
feels
just,
like he's reading lines.
Yeah.
The girl who plays young Ahsoka,
Yeah.
she feels like the character.
She's a little older though. He's a little young.
Yeah.
He's still trying to learn.
Oh, he's
how
a
to be
young
an
kid.
actor.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean,
Cut him some
that's
slack,
why you
guys.
put
Cut him
kids
some
in
slack.
Cut him
movies
some
and shit.
slack. He's not.
It's not terrible, but when the scenes of him coming on, I'm just like, okay, there's I don't know.
critical.
Well, even
definitely
the
like
scenes of them
child
walking
actor.
around on the thing trying to figure out what happened, I didn't think they were bad. I was just bored. And like I said about this show
Paul's honey,
ranges
it's a
from
child.
super interesting to I don't even know what changes said. This
Fight
show
through.
ranges from super interesting and fun to like really boring. And I've kind of come to the decision that if I'm being bored by a scene, I'm gonna skip it. And then if
Okay.
I'm watching
Right.
a show at a later, and I'm really bad at watching
So
TV
Austin's
shows.
Yeah, you are.
And that's why.
Yeah,
Like
Austin's offended.
TV
Austin's
shows
completely
have a
offended.
tendency. TV shows have a tendency to bore me and not like keep me locked in, and that's kind of what's happening for me with a lot of shows recently. And but if I get to a point in the episode, I'm like, wait, what happened? I'll go back. But I was never at the end of this episode like, oh man, I missed something important. No,
So you gave it an 8. You liked it.
I did like it actually a
Give it
lot.
an 8.
Um,
I'm actually.
He did like it.
I'm curious what your favorite Plus Star Wars shows are that you've seen so far, Matt.
Well, honestly, you see that I'm wearing a Book of
Oh,
Boba
yeah,
Fett,
I
or
see.
You can't quite see.
I see it.
So with me, I wouldn't say that any of the entire series that I've disliked at all. I liked Book of Boba Fett, loved Andor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Really, really have loved Ahsoka so far.
Andor's
Obviously, Mando's great. I'm forgetting one.
Obi-Wan?
Did I say Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan's great.
Had its moments.
Kind of a little sneak peek into not as good. Probably like
Yeah.
if Mando's A and like Andor's A, unless we're doing like an S class, and then I've obviously got to rearrange it. But I
you're
would have
nerding
probably
out right
put Boba, probably Boba and Kenobi as like B class.
Mm.
But that still doesn't mean that I didn't dislike the series as a whole. As a whole, I probably loved everything. But then, I mean, if we go episode to episode, I could definitely point out certain things that I didn't like as much. But most of my issues with any of the shows were very, very minor things. And I find myself, I can't think of an example right now off the top of my head, but usually the things that bother me are things that contradict already established pieces of canon.
That's
like
fair.
Yeah,
something an example I just thought of was not with, I guess, well, it is a Disney Plus series. It's The Bad Batch. The very first episode of The Bad Batch, when it brings in Kanan Jarrus as like a young Padawan, not only does his master have a different color lightsaber than she does in the Kanan mini-series, or I guess maxi series, comic series, but you also kind of see some events play out that are different. And then obviously, with you kind of having, if you guys have heard about this, especially when in regards to Star Wars, the iceberg effect, or like the iceberg chart. You've got like, obviously the top of the iceberg, everybody sees that. That's like the movies. And then you've got those shows, and then it's kind of comic or books, and then comics, and then games are probably in there somewhere more popular as more people play video games than read comics and books. But you've kind of got that effect of, the farther you get down, the more of the greater fandom you're losing. And so for something to have already been established in a comic book, and then they kind of decide to rewrite that in a show, obviously the majority, if not the entire fan base, well, not the entire fan base because I'm one person, even if I'm the only person, that kind of goes with what the original canon was. I mean, that comic series and those moments where Kanan has to escape Order 66 and those, I feel like were much more dramatic, much more impactful for his character and his fear behind clones, and having to, it kind of fleshes out his time for the first few weeks or months that he's having to learn how to basically be a rat on the street and survive and find food, almost kind of invoking similar vibes to like how he found Ezra. So there's certain things like that will bother me when something happens, but ultimately I know that the thing about Star Wars, and the reason I don't let it trip me up too much, is Star Wars is it's a fictional mythos, and being that it's a mythos, it's ever changing. It's kind of like a group of stories that different people are telling from different points of view, and obviously in the real world, that's different directing styles and different writers on series and different ideas being brought up at different times. And so you kind of find this way to, at the end of the day, I guess, make it all okay. But as a fan of Star Wars, you have to know that there's being, especially when you take into consideration that every comic that comes out every week, and with as many Star Wars titles as there are, there's every week, whether there's a Disney Plus series or a movie dropping in the theaters, there's always a new piece of Star Wars being added or a new brick being added in the wall of Star Wars. And if you're not prepared for something new to potentially step on the toes of something old and something that you really care about, then you're kind of not doing your best job at preparing yourself for something that might bother you being a Star Wars fan, because Disney didn't spend $4 billion buying this to just not make content.
Oh, for sure.
Like I said, whether it's going to be movies, TV series, comics, books, whatever, there's going to be more and more stuff coming. And the way people already don't prefer the Disney stuff over the Lucas ran stuff and kind of the legends that or what is bannered as legends now is, you just got to be ready to take it with the punches, man, because it's coming and there's no sign of stopping.
Absolutely not.
No, you're right.
Especially with the video games, like you mentioned, all the new stuff with like Jedi Survivor and all the Cal Kestis stuff. I'm sure,
not the live action, the open world one that they're talking about.
I'm sure he's gonna pop up in something live action at some point.
Cameron Monaghan or whatever, the guy who plays Kestis.
I'd be so pumped up, dude.
Something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a little more connected. I find that story a little more interested. And interestingly enough, I think a lot of the Obi-Wan and Boba Fett. Not so much Boba Fett, but
wasn't great.
Well, that let me finish, son. And Ahsoka, I think I was talking to Austin Lean, who's in the chat, about this. I think your enjoyment of this show, Obi-Wan, and some of the other like prequel era type stuff, really your enjoyment of it comes down to how much you enjoyed the prequels, how much you were invested in Rebels and Clone Wars. I am not the biggest fan of the prequels, and I don't love, I'm not a big cartoons guy, and I'm bad at watching TV. So Rebels and Clone Wars, I have watched, and I've watched all the major episodes, but I was never super enthralled or engrossed in them.
Oh, good word.
And so when it comes to this show, and we're like kind of living and baking in the moments from those movies and shows, whereas like Mac and maybe Frank and Austin are like, this is incredible seeing this come to fruition. I'm like, yeah, this is fine. Like I don't think this is bad. I'm just kind of whatever.
It's not something you really like.
I'm not connected with it, which has given me an interesting perspective on like things like the MCU that maybe seems obvious, but I never thought about before. Where we're like losing our mind about stuff, and then people are like,
what is happening? Why are you so excited?
With everything that happens.
It's like, well, I kind of understand the sentiment of, well, this really isn't for me necessarily.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Star Wars and the original movies and like Andor and Rogue One and those things, I have enjoyed Ahsoka, but it's not like I'm not losing my mind like everybody else when like my favorite thing, like I kind of said last week, the space whales is the coolest thing to me, because that to me isn't like a connection to the show. That's just a really cool concept.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you a space whale.
And then
you're my space
them
whale.
actually using them to travel.
Wink.
It's like a Chekhov's gun, kind of like you see it. They gotta use it. It's gotta happen at some point. And for that to happen, and then Ahsoka to actually, and that's why to me, people who aren't super like into the cartoons, when Ahsoka was kind of more stoked, people who were super into the cartoons were like, yeah, it makes sense that she's here. For me, I was like, she's no fun right now, and she's not interesting. I have none of the, like, I've never watched an episode of Rebels or Clone Wars twice, except maybe the one where the Darth Vader pulls up and Darth Maul tricks Ezra and has him,
the finale.
But so I'm not like super engrossed in that. So I'm not like, when Ahsoka's being all stoic, I'm like, let's be like a little more interesting maybe. So that, because that's not as interesting to me, because I don't feel that. And then when she starts being more fun at the end of this episode, she's like, it'll take us where it takes us. I mean, if it takes us somewhere wrong, then we're in no different position than we are now. And I'm like, she's more interesting
like that
and more fun. So that's kind of where I feel like the line you fall on with this show is. With all that said, it's good either way. and I think you can get more from it if you were more involved or interested in the cartoons and the prequels. And that's why I almost called it the World Between Worlds. That scene I thought was cool visually.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of Anakin in the prequels, and so that seeing him back really didn't do as much for me as it did for other people, other than saying, "Oh, this is a cool scene." And
It didn't
watching them
change
kinda
anything for you.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I think I'm like in the middle because like for me and Austin were talking about it. Like,
Well, you like the prequels more than me,
I
right?
do,
like
dude.
the- I like
that's
the
just like
prequels.
me going to the movies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, dude.
that resonates to me for a different level. But I've seen one episode of Rebels and like a little bit of the other one. So it does kind of like you mentioned, like seeing somebody from the outside talking about like any DC stuff or the MCU stuff. Like I could never bring
I never realized how lost in the sauce I was. Like,
No,
with
for
the,
real, 'cause you look
MCU,
at-
a bug just flew in my
I'm
eye.
so glad that happened.
Sorry.
I could only go to the movies with like you guys. You can't like bring a date and then you're like someone random shows up. You're like yes. And she's like what?
When Endgame came out, I took a girl on a date to go see it, and
And you're
it was like
nerding
the
out.
third time I saw it. I was like, "This is so cool," and she was like,
I guess.
and that's kind of a callback to a conversation we had in the chat.
Yeah. No, I mean that's why we all see movies together.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it seems like every time I've been to the movies, it's one of you.
Yeah, I don't like the backlash of getting laughed at for being excited that I don't know George Clooney shows up at
dude.
the end of the movie.
What did you think of Flash, real quick, there, Mac? Did you like the Flash movie?
Dude, I haven't seen Flash yet. I haven't
Oh my
seen
God.
Flash.
Oh, it's okay.
There's another DC movie that I haven't
surrounded
seen.
by Blue
I
Beetle?
haven't
Sounds
seen
like he's reading
Blue
a lot.
Beetle yet, but I'm getting to that this weekend. But there was a
Damn.
different DC movie I feel like I haven't seen.
Black Adam.
The Batman.
No, I
Shazam,
saw Black
Fury of
Adam.
the
That was
Gods.
fire, bro. I was into that.
Shazam
alright.
2.
Shazam 2.
Yeah, I didn't see Shazam 2.
That's
Did
on
not
Max
see
as
Shazam.
well.
You're not missing anything. It's okay.
Oh my gosh.
Real quick, Marcus is over here in the Exclusivo
Hey.
Lounge. You just got out here.
Just dropped in.
He's relaxing. He's chilling
Nice.
over here in the lounge. Marcus, give me a thought or two on Ahsoka's latest episode. How are you feeling? Are you strong with the Force? Are you grumpy?
About Star Wars?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Nice
So,
shirt. Nice shirt. I like that
It's
shirt.
not a promising opening. No.
Am I grumpy?
it's one of those. It feels like so. I am vested. I did like the Clone Wars animated stuff. Didn't care for Rebels animated stuff. I do like Ahsoka as a character in that world, but still, for me, Ahsoka is not doing it for me in this live action. She's still. For me, it seems like everything around her is more interesting than her herself. So they should have actually called it a different name. I think they should have called
Rebels season 5.
They should, they should have done that and made her like maybe a pivotal supporting actor because everybody is interesting except her to me. The stoicism is a little much now. It's time to kind of wake up.
I think she'll be better now.
and do something. The actor, the action was great. I did like the flashbacks. I will agree with Paul and say that Anakin. I'm not a fan of seeing Anakin again in this situation.
Are you a fan of the prequel stuff?
I am.
Yeah, he likes.
I was more excited seeing Anakin appear with Obi-Wan in Obi-Wan, just because they had more of a to me, they have more of a history. They have more of a connection. They have the nostalgia element for me as well, because I went to the movies. I was in high school when the episode 1 came out. I was in college
that's
when
great.
this episode 2 came out, and I was out of college by the time episode 3 came out. So I have
The nostalgic point.
yeah, there's nostalgia there. Same thing with Lord of the Rings. I think it was the same thing with Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
But man, movies were the movies back in the day. They
Just don't
they
like
were
you.
killing. But anyway, so for me, Ahsoka is just her as the character. The portrayal of her is just not doing it. But I do like the action. I do like some of the concepts. I do find that General Hera's son is interesting.
Really?
The fact that he has
Me too.
abilities and that he is his father was a Jedi, I think that could be something down the road. But overall, I
Absolutely.
did like this episode. I think this should have been episode 2. this should not have been episode 4?
Five.
Yeah, it should not have been 5.
You think it should have kicked off a little earlier?
A little earlier, because
Fair enough.
again, kind of like what we're seeing with all of the Disney Plus shows, there's pacing issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I gave it okay. Moon Knight, that was okay. That was a bad one, but I figured that maybe it would get better. But it seems like all these shows have pacing issues. You only have 6 or 8 episodes. You got to get this story moving.
That's
We don't
what I
have
said.
time.
That's
for,
why I said
yeah.
Thrawn we should have at least got a glimpse of where Thrawn was
At
or
the
what
end
he's
of the
doing
season
or
or
something like
something.
that.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't feel like we are in a much different spot
Than
in-
She-Hulk.
What? No.
Oh my word!
I was
feel
thinking,
like
I don't
we're
know.
in a
Like,
much different
we're talking pace. I don't know, man.
That's funny.
a much different spot as far as where the story is
Yeah,
than
'cause-
we were in episode 1.
Because it was just kind of like
Right,
a callback
right.
for this episode. It was kind of more
Yeah.
callbacks and nostalgia purposes. For
Right.
this
So
one.
yeah, it kind of nudged the story forward just a little bit,
Yeah.
just to keep you interested. But yeah, it's the pacing. I mean, and maybe that's kind of why Ahsoka, her portrayal for me, maybe if she opened up a little sooner, it would have been better. Like if she was stoic. If she was stoic maybe for the first 2 episodes and then she started to open up later, that would have been better. But I think that given the fact that we only have 6 to 8 episodes, we don't have 15 or 20 like the
Sure.
Netflix Daredevil or whatever. So it's like we need to get the story moving. This is a TV show. This is not a 3-part film that we're
That's true.
And I think that's where a lot of my gripe is. It may not necessarily, like as I said, it may not necessarily be the character itself. It may just be the overall pacing of the whole story.
Yeah, these shows have been either front loaded or back loaded.
Right.
I feel like
Front-loaded.
Obi-Wan was very back loaded. This show is so far is better than the other ones in my opinion, but it's still looking like it's going to be a little back loaded. Some of the
I agree.
Marvel stuff has been front loaded.
Right.
So I
Shane's
agree.
front-loaded.
Marcus,
Yeah, I agree.
Marcus, what do you think of her arm folding? Do you think that's interesting?
I
or-
say one thing every week. And
Yeah,
it just sticks in Shane's craw. He won't stop bringing up. It was Oppenheimer. Now it's that I think she
Well,
looks
it's
like
just-
a goof.
Trying to figure out how many
that's what
times you
I'm
can say
saying,
front loaded and back loaded.
I
Like,
don't
back to
know
back.
if I don't know if it's Rosario Dawson's like screen presence, because some people can fold
She's
their
not
arms.
saying much.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't saying much.
Some people
though.
can fold their arms in a shot and still be in.
Like,
in-
it's something.
You're still interested, but I get nothing from it.
She feels like a cosplayer posing for a photo.
Pretty
Sometimes.
much.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah, pretty much.
If I could ever relate,
In my
Marcus,
opinion. I mean-
if I could ever relate to a droid more than ever in my entire life,
Hu Yang.
Hu Yang,
Yes.
when he's holding Sabine's helmet,
Yeah.
Yes.
and he says, they didn't listen.
Yeah.
They never
That was a
listened.
really
Why does he
great-
have? more
I felt like Hu Yang in that moment
Is acting
every
better?
Thursday,
Trying to keep
Oh,
us
right.
together.
trying to keep this action,
boat
this
afloat.
situation together.
They never learn.
Honestly,
They-
I blame
never
him.
learned.
that is true. How does a droid have more personality than everybody else? That's kind
Yeah,
of
I mean-
David Tennant, man, Doctor
Yeah.
Hu Yang.
He's great.
yeah.
That's right.
Did you say Tenet?
Powerful.
Relax.
Oh, sorry. Don't shake me.
Uh-oh.
Don't shake the baby.
Relax.
Austin, run.
We're gonna.
No. I know here before too long we're going to switch over to the Aquaman discussion. So
Yes,
I have
we're on our
one
way.
thing or kind of
Oh,
one little
man.
piece I want to drop about
Drop that piece.
Drop that
Ahsoka
piece.
before we move on.
I like the fact that you got an
So,
X-Men shirt in the back, though. I like that.
Oh,
I see
what?
that- I see that Krakoan language in the back, in the
Oh,
you got the
background there.
Krakoa
Your
shirt there.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh,
It's a hoodie. Yeah.
I don't know.
it's pretty
I'll have
cool.
to get the book to decrypt it.
It says
Right.
backloaded.
Yeah.
No, yeah, right.
You flew
Oh,
That's
my-
actually
So-
true, though. They're either front loaded or back loaded. That's absolutely 100%.
Story of my life.
It's usually how life goes. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Anyways, you
Anyway, Matt, go ahead.
One last thing, Max.
Continue, Professor.
Goodness. So the thing that something that I found that was really interesting about the very end of Ahsoka and Anakin's interaction was, he came when he kind of force pushed her in her Siege of Mandalore self through the smoke, and then she fell onto the bridge, and he came out, red lightsaber. They're still dueling and everything. Well, he actually disarms her of both of her lightsabers. I believe he just hits her lightsaber hard enough that he kind of knocks one
Oh,
out of
yeah,
her
yeah.
hand. Then I think he grapples and kind of makes her forces her to throw the other one off. And for a split second, you know, most fans are like, probably. But me, I was so cool because not only has she already fought and defeated someone when losing her lightsaber with Darth Maul, but she did it with the Inquisitor from Tales of the Jedi. She didn't even have a lightsaber for that fight. She just straight up, you know, dodged this guy's attacks and then used his own lightsaber to cut him down. And then in Mando season 2, they did the whole thing with Morgan Elsbeth where she disarms her one of her lightsabers and then she just has the Shoto to deal with, you know, reversed. I think Ahsoka is hands down the most confident Jedi once she loses her blade. She's just like, all right, well, it's not really that big of a deal because she relies so heavily on the Force. Yeah, and especially once we're in this aspect of like white lightsaber Ahsoka. By the time you get post Order 66 and white lightsaber Ahsoka, she's just so in tune with the cosmic force and the living force that she's just like, bro, it's more about the Force than any kind of lightsaber combat. So yeah, disarm me of my blade. I'll straight up, I mean, think about this. I just thought about this one for you guys who've seen Rebels. When she fights those 2 Inquisitors in that one random episode when they're like going after the little babies or whatever. It's like a human baby and a Thorian baby, like the Hammerhead people. And she straight up like cuts her lightsaber off in the middle of fighting the Seventh Sister, grabs her lightsaber, deactivates it, and then just chucks it to the side and uses the Force to like end up defeating her. So yeah, it's just kind of crazy. And I like seeing the consistency of like, that wasn't just a one-off thing. Like Ahsoka just didn't do that one time or even 2 times. Like she's done that 3, 4, 5 times. And that's kind of, you know, at this point, I expect that. And that's kind of her MO to me. It's like, even if she gets disarmed or her lightsaber shorts out, if she ever falls in water or something like that, like in this episode, but still has the lightsaber, then dude, Ahsoka with no lightsaber, I got no worries. I'm chilling.
Still very capable.
You mentioned consistency, and one of the things that we always try to hope for when it comes to DC films is consistency.
Oh, yes.
Aquaman 2 will be dropping exclusively in theaters. Fingers crossed. In December, December 20th. This is when it comes out.
Merry Christmas.
Right, Merry Christmas. Here's some Jason Momoa. We're going to check out the trailer that dropped earlier today. I have not watched this trailer.
I didn't watch it either.
All right, we're going to watch it.
I didn't watch it either.
We're going to watch it together.
I didn't watch it either.
I didn't watch it.
Aquaman 2,
not this one.
The Big Wave, or what's it called? Lost Kingdom.
Lost Kingdom.
Lost King, the Big Wave.
What we got?
4 years ago, I was basically unemployed. A wanderer with no home.
The teaser was cool.
But now, I'm a husband and a father. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know how you did it, Pops. My job was a little less stressful than yours. Oh yeah, I finally got a job. I'm the king of Atlantis.
What is happening?
500 million people from every known species in the sea call this place home. But that doesn't mean they all like me.
Because you don't live there, fam.
I'm gonna kill Aquaman and destroy everything he holds dear.
Hey, it's T'Challa.
I'm gonna murder his family and burn his kingdom to ash.
He must be stopped, or a global meltdown is imminent.
I think I know someone that might be able to help us. Ooh, you look rough. Good job, little brother. Do not call me brother.
I cannot believe you let this happen.
Yeah, well, I hate this job.
True king builds bridges, right?
True king builds bridges.
We need to find Manta.
He's different now. He's stronger than before.
It's the Black Trident.
It's gotta be black.
During King Atlan's time, there were 7 kingdoms. The Trident was a curse upon them all.
The Trident's dark magic is spreading.
He means to end the bloodline.
Oh, this looks terrible.
I I don't know what lies ahead, but we can't leave our children a world without hope.
You're not as bad at this as you think. If you lead, the 7 kingdoms will follow.
On the one shot of Amber Heard.
Was that Purple Girl?
Oh, they should have just put that on it. Yeah, they should have just put that on HBO Max, man. What the?
I think the thing that I got to tip my hat to about that trailer, though, is right there at the very end when it says, see where it all started, or read where it all started. It shows comics.
Yes,
I really think both Marvel and DC need to promote the comics more and be like, go back, read the origins, whether you get singles or trades, omnibus, whatever.
I agree.
You gotta read the comics, man.
I could relate to that because, like, when the end of the trailer happened, I was just glad that it ended. So I was just cool with that. I was just cool with
kind
that.
of touch on what Mac is talking about. I think it would be really cool if media in general, when they use like the picture of Jim Lee's Superman gets used a lot. I wish places would or outlets would be like, this is what this is, and where you can find this.
Yeah,
so I think that's really cool. I think on the note of the trailer, I think in a lot of moments visually it looks really cool. I think the things from the trench or whatever, I think those look really cool. I think it felt like they were going for like an Office kind of the vibe with this trailer. And I do not think it worked.
Like Underwater Office?
Fast and Furious
like he's
with
like,
Jason Momoa.
or I don't know. He's like, I'm Aquaman and I live under here and I am.
No, but that was confusing me.
I wanted to narrate the whole film.
So he's a dad now, and he's married.
So I'm a dad.
No Amber Heard.
But no Amber Heard until that one shot.
Poo-poo girl in there.
Yeah. Amber Turd.
The music was not. It wasn't doing it.
It wasn't doing it. No, it just seemed very strange. No.
I don't know. I feel like if they changed up the music and had it more.
Oh, the music is what it is.
Yeah, they could have cut that way different. Like what they did.
Mac, are you gonna see it?
Dog on their editing team.
That didn't look good though, right?
Are you gonna go watch it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
What
about
dude,
those?
My top 3 DC guys are in no specific order: Flash, Green Arrow, Aquaman. So I'm there, bro. I'm there.
Yeah, I mean,
All right,
Listen, Mac ain't even seen Flash yet. Mac ain't seeing this.
Yeah, you're talking about.
Come on now.
What do you mean? My top guys.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, that bridge thing was terrible.
that was
probably the worst part of the trailer.
That might have been a
You didn't
blooper.
like that?
No.
That was
I didn't like that at all. Real kings build bridges, and he's like,
He shouldered.
I don't know, man.
the CG, I don't know. It just doesn't seem consistent because it looks awesome. The movie looks good when it's underwater, but then when you're shooting it above ground, it just looks terrible. Like, is that what we're gonna do? Like, his costume looks horrible.
He's hanging it on a clothesline.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
Drying it off.
Yeah.
You got to dry it off for what? You're gonna put it in the water.
Put it in water. What are you drying it up for? I don't know. That doesn't.
This is the last one though for all the DC EU, correct?
Yeah, until
Thank God.
because the
Bro.
next movie after this,
Not till
is Superman,
2025.
right?
2025.
Whenever
What?
that, yeah,
Whenever
maybe
that,
2025,
2026.
might be 2032. The way
Yeah,
they're
if
going with the
You
stretch.
guys,
Yeah.
with talking about that, you guys were talking about Aquaman, but how do you feel about Black Manta? I felt like
think
Manta
I thought
was
the
pretty
costume
cool
looks
in that trailer.
really
He
good.
He's probably was my favorite part of the trailer. I think he looks the most
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
But
He's playing Wonder Man in the
Yeah,
MCU
whenever that comes out.
show.
Oh,
right?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amber Heard looked great.
Okay, cool.
Amber Heard
one
looked
window
incredible.
shot?
Shane.
Banging on
yeah, that's
that,
the
yeah.
joke, Sonny.
Did you like that?
One of my
Oh, yeah, I get
coworkers
it.
at work
Okay.
was he made an interesting comment. He thought that the guy who plays Black Manta should actually be recast as Black Panther, and I was like, you know what? That's not a bad, hot take, because he has the look.
Maybe in another universe.
you
was
know.
Dr. Manhattan, was he not in
Yes,
that?
he was.
Yes.
And he was fantastic.
Yeah, so I mean, he could be like, if they ever decide to revisit Black Panther and recast T'Challa, he might be a good little,
That's
he might be a good
interesting.
choice,
He might
good
slip
option.
All
right in
jokes
there.
aside, I don't think that's a bad take.
No. Yeah.
He was
And,
like 6'7",
and then,
though.
of course, I'm excited for this. I don't care. It's one of those.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
It's one of these movies where I loved the first one so much. It's one of my favorite.
Wait. What movie you're talking about?
I'm sorry. Back to Aquaman. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back to Aquaman. I'm actually looking forward to this. Yeah, some things look a little wonky. Who knows? Maybe they'll tweak it by the time
You
it
don't
comes
care,
out.
though.
I don't know. You know, it's
They had
just
no money
hooking
to
up
change
someone's
it.
laptop and fixing it. You know, but
Pretty sure
maybe
it's like a
they'll
little
fix it
harder
by
than
the
that.
time.
right. But I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be one of those where we'll get a chance to enjoy. We'll get into, and I think there was a clip somewhere. I don't know if it was in the teaser trailer or if it was a video still
The
that I
teaser
saw.
looked dope.
Teaser was better than the trailer.
There was a video still or something where he's actually riding a seahorse.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of cool because that was kind of one of the things that made Aquaman kind of like a back burner laughing stock character in the DC universe. Was he was just this clean cut blonde haired guy who rode around on a seahorse until you had
The Super Friends.
yeah, and then you had
Until there's a problem
Peter
in
David.
the ocean. You feel me?
Yeah. Until Peter David
And that
took the
man can
character,
shine, you feel
he
me?
gave him a hook. You know, because I think the piranhas ate his arm off or something.
Oh, that
so
would
he
be
has
so sick
Oh,
if he
yeah.
got the hook
so he had the
hand.
hook. So that was Peter David era, and then
Trident,
Jeff Johns
hook
took him and just gave him all these and made him kind of OP to where we are now with him in the comics. It's kind of, you know, Mac, you actually said something interesting. It is interesting that they haven't integrated the media more. You would think they would, considering the fact that when I read back issues from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there's a lot of ads from outside, you know, sources like Jeep and video games and all these. And everything now is so insular that you would think they would integrate that more, but you don't see that. You see like they'll you know put ads in for like movies and things like that, but you don't see like, oh, find the comic here, find the trade there. You know, so it's kind of like, yeah, why don't they do that more? They you know, they've already turned inward anyway. They should do that. You know, since they don't have those cigarette ads and Jeep commercials anymore, or whatever, or Jeep ads in there anymore. So.
I mean, it's funny that you say that because I really do wish, even Paul, you mentioned that they would kind of just bring it back to the comics. It would be cool in promotions or something where they were like, this is what this is going to be about. You can kind of look back at that.
Yeah, because when they make like when the Boogeyman came out earlier this year,
He was in that movie. He was the main guy in that movie.
Oh no, that was Candyman. That was
Candyman,
Candyman.
sorry.
We were on the same page.
Yep.
Not my point. My point is, I mean, they kind of sell the story on, and obviously Stephen King is a kind of an exception, but this is a Stephen King short story that they're adapting. I think it would be interesting if, when they promote these movies, they would be based on the storyline from comics creators, Jeff Johns and Brad Anderson, and
that would be a nice touch.
Artist, I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now. Dude who always works with Brad Anderson and Jeff Johns, but
Is it Fabok?
no, it's Marcus doesn't like his art.
Stanley Sanderson.
Frank Quitely.
No. Oh no.
Howard Porter.
That's gonna drive
Maniple.
me up the
I'll look it
wall.
up. Keep
No,
going.
Maniple's cool. I like
Please.
Maniple.
Thank
All
you.
right, so though.
But he, I don't know. Remember, but point being that they would shout out, "Hey!" from these artists, or like from the Frank Miller. So I think the only thing that you've ever seen with that is I think maybe for BVS they might have shouted out Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns a few times when that movie was coming out. But
Von Reese.
no, not Yvonne Hayes. I can't remember. I don't know why, but whatever.
Fair.
He did Geiger, the guy who did Geiger with Jeff.
Oh,
Johns.
Gary Frank.
Gary
Gary
Frank.
I
There you
love
go.
Gary Frank.
But that's the name I was trying to
Yeah,
think.
he likes the guy. What do you mean?
I like the
my
guy.
bad. I was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
quietly.
Yeah,
But,
okay, yeah, quietly, he's polarizing to me.
But anyways, I got way off track. Shout out, like say that, like from the story by Stephen King, or from the story by Jeff Johns, from the story by Grant Morrison, Alan Moore.
Right.
I think that would be really dope for the promotion of these films, and people could go out and seek those out, read them beforehand, which is kind of what they did there. But I think that's a really cool concept, and probably the thing that was most interesting. I agree with Mac from the trailer for me, and Black Manta was cool.
I really like the end.
Yeah.
Samesies.
Yeah.
No, speaking
Let
about
me
that.
jump off something Paul said. So just to drop a little kernel in here so Sonny can jump in and give his point. You said Jeff Johns and oh my goodness, Gary Frank.
Gary Frank.
You want to talk
Everybody's
about
forgetting the
something to look forward to is their universe with like Geiger.
Yeah.
And then I didn't read
Junkyard
as
Joe.
much Geiger, but my dad was a huge fan of Geiger. Pumped up to see where that universe goes. But I really liked
Junkyard
Oh my
Joe.
God.
Junkyard Joe.
Junkyard Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Dude,
was
Junkyard
really
Joe was fire. And they're gonna in the back of those books, they kind of have like a timeline, so you can kind of know what to expect with upcoming projects. And they've got at least 3 or 4 other super characters, or other characters that you can only assume are going to be miniseries in the future.
Yeah,
so definitely, if you guys like them or you're interested in that universe, look forward to that, because I'm pumped up.
Yeah, that's good. I like that
I like
British
Geiger
character
too, yeah.
that he did too. I forget his name, but there's a British character. I think he's like it goes back in time to like kind of like I want to say 18th century England. He's like, I forget, Captain something.
Benny Hill.
But it's really good. Benny Hill's dope. I like Benny Hill. That's good comedy right there. I love British comedy. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
But that universe is going to be great. I agree.
To get back on the comics, I wanted to do.
Please.
Sorry.
What's happening? That was Benny Hill.
There we
Playing
go.
the music, the Benny Hill music.
That's what that was.
Copyright.
And we're turned off. Shut up, Shane. Cop or drop?
Copper drop, baby.
Copper drop. I know. You 3 gentlemen.
The 4 was Max got a couple of books too.
Perfect. I don't know who should I start with. Maybe we should start with our guest.
to you,
What do you have? What'd you bring to the table today?
So, of course, you can expect that I was going to bring something Star Wars, and I brought Obi-Wan. Ooh, let's see where we can get this. Yeah, Obi-Wan.
Handsome.
Of course, this cover's phenomenal. This is Phil Noto. I would definitely suggest picking this up just purely based on a cover. But even if you're not a fan of Phil Noto's awesome painted style, you've got all the characters pretty much that feature in the book, with the exception of Flea's character. If you guys are Red Hot Chili Pepper fans, that bounty hunter that actually steals Leia appears in like the last 2-3 pages of this story.
That's cool.
So that's pretty cool. Nobody's really talking about that. Everybody's talking about the fact that this is, of course, the first appearance of Reva, the third sister. So that's, whether you're somebody who collects for keys, whether you really like covers, this is definitely, I think, a book to pick up. Maybe not the full series, but issue 1 at least.
Nice.
There's a variant cover that's coming out with Flea actually on the cover. I want to say it's FOC for issue 2, or it might be a variant of 1. I'm not sure. I saw it in passing, but it almost looks like a Blade Runner cover.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really sick. I believe that one's 2, and it might even be a 1 in 25 variant. So I'm crossing my fingers that it's a free to order, because I'd like to get 3 or 4 of those for the PC.
Heck yeah.
I'm a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, so
Oh,
please,
now you're talking.
entrance into Star Wars was kind of a dream I didn't know I had.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
What's the other book you got over there?
So the other book, I know you guys are more than likely going to be a fan of this, as you've had the writer on the show, but I've been really enjoying this Hulk series, and I am a massive fan of the Man-Thing. I was so pumped up when they brought him into Werewolf by Night last October, and I really, really enjoyed this issue. It didn't really have enough Man-Thing for me. That was my only issue. You got him right there on the cover, looking good, fighting Hulk. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the issues. I think it's 198 and 199, or 197, 198, where Hulk and Man-Thing in the first issue, or whichever comes first in the continuity, they're fighting each other, and then in the next issue they're back to back fighting together, and that's in the classic Hulk run. Like I said, it's either 197, 198, or 198, 199. So it kind of, for me, when I saw this solicited a month ago or 2 months ago, however long, I was pretty pumped up, and I was like, oh man, hopefully they'll start fighting but team up by the end. And it didn't really go that way. But there was a really big, people are always going to argue cameo or first appearance of a character at the end of this. So again, if you're a key collector, so to speak, shout out Key Collector Comics,
Nice.
then, of course, got to pick up the issue just based on that. But even though I don't have the prior 3 issues in my personal collection, I bought them, as I'm an online comic shop, so I have extra copies for the shop. But issue 4 had to be one that I had in my PC, just because it's another appearance, Man-Thing, along his great, journey through comics.
Yeah, we had the pleasure of kind of getting a little sneak peek of what was going to happen in this series. And that was probably the thing that he told us about early on that I was the most excited for. I'm really excited to. I gotta go pick it up because it came out. Because Marvel's weird. Like I got all my books for this week for DC yesterday, but I couldn't get my books for Hulk until today. It was weird. I don't know.
There's been a shipping.
Yeah, it's
happening.
Penguin Random House and DC.
Yeah.
They're different.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to get that book yet, but I got to go back and grab it. I'm really excited. I do have the first 3.
Nice.
And it's super dope. It's everything he said it would be.
But Barney's there in the chat from Shimpson's Comics. Barney confirms
What up,
it.
Barney?
Said Incredible Hulk 197 and 198 is correct.
Correct.
You nailed it, Mac.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Paul, what did you bring?
So I brought 2 books. I brought all the variants for one of them. I'm going to talk about the other one first, though, which I've been very excited for. Here, take them. Look at them. One of those. I mean, I'll get to it. So the Hunger in the Dusk issue 2. This is the C cover. I'm not a big cover guy, except for with the exception of the other book I got today.
Except for all the covers that you just brought.
Yeah. Well, I should have started with that.
You should have started with that and not said that.
I never get multiple covers.
Right,
This man got multiple covers.
So the fact that I did tells you how much I am excited about that book and interested in that book. But anyways, I'm still gonna wait to talk about it because everyone thinks they're so damn funny.
Man, I want to know what it's about.
The Hunger in the Dusk. I'll be a little quicker about this one. It's kind of a World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings type world. G. Willow Wilson and Chris Wildgoose, the creative team. It's really cool, and I'm really enjoying it. It's one of my favorite books that I'm reading right now, up there with World's Finest and things of that nature. And I think from the moment I read the first issue, I was just super excited for the next issue, and now that it's here, I can't wait for the third one to come out.
Sick.
The art is stellar. Chris Wildgoose does like really like surreal art, and I think I don't know how to say the colorist names. It's Miss Sasic. I don't. It's might even be like a
Miss Sassy.
Miss Sassy.
Hey.
There's a K in it. I don't know, but the colors are fantastic and it's really good. But I'm gonna get to the book that I've been excited about for months since it was announced, and that's the Batman Gargoyle of Gotham.
Sick
book.
Cover, dude.
And I'll put up each of the covers. This is the Noir edition.
Oh, that's the other cover.
This is not just a different cover. This is black, white, and red inks only.
That's tight.
And then
sick.
Here's some of the other covers for it.
Multiple covers.
Yeah, Sonny thinks he's funny. But
Not
so
a cover
this is
guy.
written by I'm not, and that's why it means a lot that I got multiple.
It's not gonna work, man.
No, I'm gonna keep saying it as long as you
Buy
keep
through.
saying it.
Buy through.
But I'm. This is written by Rafael Grampa and with colors by Matthias Lopez. And
Grandpa. He's dope.
Yeah, he is.
Grandpa's dope. He's phenomenal.
That's like a
Keep
cool
going,
name.
please.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's kind of. You get a new villain in this comic. His name is Krytoon. He's kind of obsessed with a cartoon, and he's an assassin, and he's like hyper violent. And this is Black Label, so it's more mature. We get a Batman who has a plan to kill off Bruce Wayne, so he can only be the Batman.
Oh.
And Alfred is trying to convince him how important it is to be Bruce Wayne. This is like year 2 or 3 Batman.
Okay.
Okay.
And the new suit he has in this is super dope. And then
Interesting.
simultaneously with that going on, there are a string of murders going on in the city. Right now, it's pretty clear that Krytoon is not the person committing these murders. It's like a separate thing. And Gordon is investigating that with Batman while he chases down Krytoon. There's a lot of really cool concepts in this. And there's kind of a big moment at the end, kind of where you question the psyche of Bruce a little bit. And I think it's very cool. I'm really excited for this because you know how a lot of Batman comics will be like, oh, Bruce is the facade.
Yeah.
Batman is the real person. It seems like this comic might be going down a road of Bruce is not a facade.
Right.
Bruce Wayne is who he is, and that's important.
Right.
And that's kind of what Alfred's been trying to instill in him to this point. But it was really cool. The art was fantastic. It's kind of it's a larger size book, so the books are a little longer than your average issue. And it was just really cool when I saw it announced. I had to get all the covers. It looked super
Boom.
dope.
Yeah. Yeah,
They did.
the guys at my comic store were saying that even though they feel that DC tends to overuse the prestige format a lot lately, the magazine size format.
Yeah, right.
They said this format, this book should have been in that format because the art is so great.
I wouldn't have bought it.
I would put this on the tier of One Dark Knight. This is my favorite book since then.
Right.
So if
nice.
you liked One Dark Knight, this is different, but it is kind of in the same vein.
Nice.
Marcus, what about you?
What you got, Marcus?
All right. So my first book, this one actually just debuted this week. It's called Batman and Robin, and it's by Joshua Williamson writing it, and it's Simon DeMeo. He's doing everything, the cover as well as the internal artwork, and it is phenomenal. I think this might be the first time I've experienced his artwork in internals.
I love that art.
Unless he did. A lot of it feels like the future state sort of vibe inside, which is great. But it basically, the premise is it's spinning out of what's been going on in the Gotham War, the little mini kind of event that's going on, where basically all of the Bat family seems to be kind of turning against Batman, which is interesting concept because it's actually very well done, and it's showing us a little bit more the strength of conviction that Bruce Wayne Batman has about what he's allowed, what he will tolerate and what he won't. And the key premise of this whole spinoff story is the fact that we're starting to see Damian Wayne, his son, grow closer to him. So we're starting to see them connect more, especially if you've been reading Gotham War and especially Batman 137 by Chip Zdarsky. You'll really see why they're starting to connect more. Oh man, there's an amazing scene in there that I just was like, yes. There are certain characters who I just love to see get effed up. Yeah. And Jason Todd Red Hood is one of them. And my goodness. I mean, he's going after Batman, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Damian comes in and knocks the dust out of him. I'm like, I mean, you can feel it. You can see the page. You can just feel it through the page. Like, yes, knock the dust off him. I love it.
Marcus, did you already read this issue?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Did you read Robin, like the series that was all about Damian Wayne?
Yes. I would say.
Do you feel like this kind of builds off of that?
There's not a lot. There's some flashbacks about it. I think in this one because there's an inner monologue where Batman is kind of talking about like his son and what he's been through and all that. So yeah, they do kind of touch on it a little bit, like when he was in that contest, the Lazarus contest on that island and all that. So there was some of that, to kind of set him up as a character a little bit for those who are just kind of jumping in, I think. But it doesn't really dwell on that too much, which is nice. But it does, you kind of see it coming forward where you see Bruce Wayne is like, okay, you've been this guy, you've been this kid, this assassin kid for so long. I want you to try to be kind of normal. I want us to try to have a normal relationship, and, you're going to school. What? I'm going to school? Yes, you're going to go to school. You're going to learn to be a teenager. And then, at night, we'll still do the whole Batman Robin thing, but I want you to get what I didn't have, and that is a normal kind of childhood.
Have you read Robin and Batman by Jeff Lemire?
Yes.
That sounds kind of similar. Obviously, it's Dick, not Damian, but
right. I would say it's close, but I think this one kind of opens up the potential to kind of really get them closer as a father and son. So that's what really captivated me because I love Damian Wayne. He's my favorite Robin.
Nice.
So, because he's basically me, now as a 13-year-old, so that I can connect. I don't like anyone. I don't give a flip. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You don't like anyone
now?
Yeah,
Marcus.
yeah. That's what I'm saying,
Marcus.
Yeah. So that's why. That's how
Shane Dre, talk him down.
Come on, man.
But anyway,
you don't like anyone.
Yeah. I don't operate in gray. Yeah.
It's funny because Jason Todd's my favorite Robin. I'm like, damn, man.
I was going to say, answer carefully. I got your birthday gift in my car right now.
my second one, for those who've been watching for a while, I think I've voiced it a couple of times. I'm not sure, but I had my doubts. But the new number one for Daredevil has debuted as well.
That's nice.
And it's a new team. It's Saladin Ahmed, Aaron Cooter, and Jesus Abertoff.
What did he say?
Yeah, Abertoff. yes. And I was surprisingly, I was surprised. It was solid. For those who don't know, Saladin Ahmed, he did the just before Cody Ziegler took over, he did the last run of Miles Morales, which was decent.
Yeah.
He's also known for doing a run of the Inhumans, which actually has been purported to be good as well. I just had my doubts because I wasn't as big of a fan of his run of Miles as a lot of people were. I'm more Bendis in this case.
Okay.
And maybe even Cody Ziegler, the current writer who's doing it. He's doing a phenomenal job as well. But it just, I just had my doubts because I was like, it seems like Saladin Ahmed is still kind of on that. He's still kind of newish, even though he's getting up there in esteem now. It seems like in terms of writing, he's kind of like what Peter David and John Byrne were back in the day, where kind of like he's that guy who, after a major name would be finished with their run of a character, then John Byrne would take over. Like, after Stanley and Kirby, it would be John Byrne taking over, or give it to Peter David. Peter David will take over until those guys ended up making a name for themselves, especially like Peter David with the Hulk, his Hulk run that's iconic, and X Factor and all that. And then you have John Byrne, of course, who's done everything for Marvel and DC, Doom Patrol, Superman, all that. So I had my doubts, but I am pleased to say that I am excited for this new run of Daredevil, and I will be adding it to my pool. Essentially, he's back in existence after dying in hell, but he doesn't know this. His memories are wiped. He's back, and he's actually a priest, and he works in an orphanage, or excuse me, a foster home ran by a local Catholic church. And little by little, things are coming back to him. Apparitions are appearing, and his memories are coming back. Also, Elektra is also back.
Yes.
Hey, girl.
So we're seeing what's going on with that and that interplay.
Electrifying.
And it's phenomenally done. I don't want to give too much away because
you can keep talking about Elektra.
It's really good. It's really good. Yeah, Elektra, she's great.
Yeah, she is.
So this
Jennifer
was
Garner.
definitely one that I was glad. I like being surprised. I like being wrong about books.
Good. I would agree.
I like that.
Contrary to popular belief, I like being wrong when I think something's
We love
bad
it
and
when
it's
you're wrong.
actually pretty good. I like being surprised like that.
Marcus
I like that.
Marcus is never wrong.
Frankie.
Paul's never wrong.
What?
Marcus is never wrong.
What did you bring, sir?
Real
quick.
Real quick, I was gonna do the rapid
rapid
fire
fire.
thing. I also got Batman and Robin because I wasn't sure which books that Marcus wanted to
Cover
check
is
out.
awesome.
Loved it. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
He mentioned Cody Ziegler, Miles Morales, Spider-Man. I mean, it's been
phenomenal.
pretty great so far. I've enjoyed it more than the Saladin Ahmed run.
Oh,
What issue number is that on now?
10.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been pretty entertaining. I like the artwork,
The energy.
There's energy like in the artwork.
It's
Yeah.
a vibe.
It's a vibe.
How did the whole
Feels-
Carnage thing affect?
Because
the
it was only
greater
it didn't
story?
it didn't really
It was vibey.
Okay.
they brought it
vibed.
all back. It chilled out. It was only like a 2-issue arc, I think it tied in,
it
right?
was a mini crossover because it was like you had 2 issues within the Miles Morales, but then you had Red Goblin, issue from Red Goblin, an issue from Carnage, and then they had an Alpha and Omega issue for that. It actually was really good.
And
because
then
it
they
kinda-
had his frenemy, and now they have this other this girl who could be a bigger threat.
right.
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Cool.
A couple of number ones also real quick. Avengers Inc. number 1 by Al Ewing and Sinclair. It's imagine an Avengers story, as Avengers team up. It's a version of Vision, who is his character Victor Shade, and he's investigating a murder. 6 inmates are murdered on the raft, that prison barge thing. He's investigating that, and the number 1 suspect is Janet Van Dyne. So he's investigating that. It's a pretty cool little mystery thing. And then Werewolf by Night number 1. I like the art, the cover. We got Werewolf by Night number 1. The really cool thing that they did in this book was the 2 styles of artwork. It's black and white, and then it's color. They do black and white for all the scenes with Jack Russell, and they do colorized or red for anything with Elsa Bloodstone in the scene, so you can see she's in color.
Yeah, cool.
He's still in black and white. Where's my finger? Over here. So it's pretty cool, like matchup.
Yeah, that's dope.
I have a hard time finding
That's
my
just
finger.
like the show.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're gonna do something about Werewolf by Night coming up. I think doing some full color episodes or something. I read something.
Yeah,
But that was really fun. And Marvel's kind of leaning into the whole horror kind of theme with they're doing like a
Spooky vibes.
they're doing a zombie version of Captain America, like a mini series or something like that. The Howling Commandos, Howling Werewolf Commandos.
They're
or something.
also bringing. They're doing the black, white, and red with Marvel Zombies too.
That's
So
right.
don't know
I
if you
heard
guys
that as
like
well.
Marvel Zombies, but that's something coming soon.
Yeah, so a lot of good stuff.
All very good
Always
stuff you guys brought.
good.
I approve. I cop.
I don't buy multiple covers.
Yeah,
Not usually.
We're still on that.
Okay.
Dude, Carol got so mad at me for calling.
She did.
her out
She
about
yelled.
that, dude. She was like, "Shut up, dude." I'm like,
You told Shane to shut up
Damn.
earlier.
Paul,
but
Paul's mom came to his
Shane to shut up
defense
all
in
the
the
time.
chat.
so
We
I won't
appreciate
forget
that.
that.
Real quick, we're gonna be working our way out of here. I wanted to get to Shane real quick. Give us some final thoughts or two about Ahsoka. What you're thinking for the season? Do you love Mary Elizabeth Winstead?
Yes. No, I love so far so great. I love the action. The script is bad. I mean, let's all just face it. The script is so basic that
It's not as bad
tough.
as Secret Invasion, though. Come on.
Yeah, no,
leave
of
it
course not.
alone.
No, let's not get crazy. But it's not as bad as Secret Invasion, but the script is just very, very
So bad.
plain, and that's what's making
Boring.
everyone not like Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka all that much because she's the script is plain, and then she's acting it plain. So so with those two things going on,
She's a plainer.
it doesn't really help, you know. But Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, General Abadola. What's her name again?
I think Hera. I think she's her name is
Hera
her first
Abdullah.
name. Yeah, her first name is Hera. I think.
Dre, help us. What do
She's
you
great.
got over there? Your thoughts?
She's awesome.
I'm gonna agree.
I'm pleasantly drunk right now. I'm sorry.
I will agree with Shane that I mean the writing is not the best, but I mean, you know, I'm excited to see Ezra and Thrawn, and I'm just kind of looking
Agreed.
forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Overall, I like it. I mean,
You're kind of meh.
I like it. But once again, the
He's not
writing.
man, he likes it.
Okay.
He gave it an
agree
8.
with me then?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree.
Thank
I
you.
don't know. I'm not as obsessed with Hera then.
Shane just woke up.
She's cool. She's cool.
Out with you, sir.
Marcus, how about you? Some thoughts there for Ahsoka going forward?
For Ahsoka going forward. So if next episodes that we are to see are of the same caliber or better than the one we just watched this week, good.
Okay.
Again, more and more I think about it, I can't really beat up on this show that much because the more and more I think
'Cause it
about it,
doesn't
I
have
think
hands.
it's just the pacing again. I don't know if it's from like a higher up corporate or whatever's going on,
Speed up on
but
it.
the pacing issues, it seems like it's a Disney Plus problem almost. You know, it's a studio problem.
Maybe.
You know, because everything is pretty solid. The CG's solid. The action is solid. Yes,
The droids.
dialogue is very basic. In a lot of ways, I think Paul mentioned this at some point. I think either in our personal chat or whatever, but they do spoon feed a lot of stuff to you as well. And I'm kind of like, no, you don't need to say that stiff line to explain to us as the viewers what's going on.
When
We'll
she got in the whale's mouth, and then Syndulla had to be like, she's gonna get in the whale, and then she's gonna travel through space. I'm like, what is this conversation we're having?
Who is this for?
Birthday boy, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm just excited for I've been loving the Ahsoka show because I loved Rebels. Rebels.
Oh, hey.
voice is cracking.
A year older. It's
Wow.
cracking.
It happened.
Hey, you're getting some ladies, baby.
That's a deep.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a clip. That's gonna
Just
be
his birthday.
But yeah,
Happy birthday.
I'm loving the show, and I'm looking forward for the last. I'm gonna keep my voice really deep now.
Yeah.
Before
The show's good.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Austin.
Thank you.
Show's alright.
You know
Happy
what I'm
birthday.
saying?
Know what I'm saying?
Oh gosh.
Sonny, what do you think?
I hope it stays on this what's the word, trajectory?
Yeah,
trajectory. I can't
Especially when you say it like that.
I know. Jesus. I do feel that every episode has been progressively getting better, so it does feel good. To maybe I hope the end the episode's going to be good, but I really don't want Thrawn to show up.
You hope it's gonna be.
Maybe I hope it's going to be all right. I guess. No, I just hope Thrawn doesn't show up at that last episode and like we just get that.
He just turns around in the show.
He's like, hey,
It's
like him like doing like a Blue Man Group impersonation or something like that, like playing the drums and like paint splitting everywhere. You know what I mean?
He's throwing toilet paper in the
What did he
cocktail.
say? Talking about, man. Did he
I
say
don't know,
Blue
man.
Man Group?
I don't know.
What did he say?
2 days on, 2 days off.
Paul, save us.
Can't save us. Too far down the hole, man.
How do they find us in the social world between worlds?
You find us in the social worlds at Into the West Comics on Instagram, Into_Comics on Twitter, Into the West Comics on TikTok, and then here on YouTube. I almost said Facebook. I don't know what's wrong with me. And then you
Here
can find
on
our
MySpace.
audio podcast on Spotify, Apple Pods, anywhere. You can
MySpace.
find us there. I'm going to spare Sonny the feed finder thing this week.
I've made a lot of money this month
So,
on Feed
so
Finder.
that
I'm just
Mac
saying.
can,
Spare his feet
shout
finder.
his stuff out and
Inspirations.
yeah, an inspiration.
Schmers.
Mac, we really appreciate you hanging out with us, man.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. We get crazier
Absolutely.
by the end of the show. I'm sorry.
When we get to the
The only
end,
way it could be crazier is if I was in studio with you guys.
Ooh,
Really
hey.
don't tempt us, player. What's up?
Hey, man.
Come on through, man.
Hey, I'll come out, man. I'll come out.
Please
I
do.
really will.
You're very
You
welcome.
gonna
love
fly
it.
him out,
Yeah,
Sonny?
nice meeting you
Yeah,
too, by
dog.
the way.
yeah, Mac,
dog.
we're,
Absolutely.
It's with that Feed
Nice
Finder
hanging out
money.
with you guys.
yeah,
exactly.
but we're looking forward to. We'll probably talk to you somewhere down the line after the show's over.
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
maybe
for
do
sure.
some regroup post game review
Let's do it.
once it
That'd be
wraps.
awesome.
Yeah,
Your
man.
insights and perspectives were dope.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time with us. And do you got anything coming up you want to talk about or you want to mention?
Floor's yours.
You
Honorable
Oh,
mentions.
man.
Where can we find you on the social networks?
On social media, I'm just Kessel Run Comics, either all run together in the case of Instagram or on Facebook. It's the only other platform that I really use. I guess I technically use Threads too, but that's like a subsidiary of Instagram. So, I'm the same thing there, Kessel Run Comics. Yeah, and I usually post the same thing to Facebook as Instagram. So if you're following me on Instagram, you're basically keeping up with my, most high traffic, so to speak, or most often posted and kind of the place where you're going to be able to follow my content most easily.
Cool.
Nice.
I do want to end off on 3 things. First thing, I want to turn a question to all of you guys.
Ooh, I love this.
I want you guys to tell me what episode that you hope and what episode that you think is most likely to see both Thrawn and Ezra, whether that be the same episode or a different episode. So I want all of you guys to answer that. If you
Shane,
will.
quickly, you give us your response for that. What episode do you think we see Ezra and are you still with us? Ezra and Thrawn.
Like nodding
Just
off.
barely. No, I'm good. What are we on? Episode 5?
Yeah.
And there's 8.
Yeah.
8.
Oh man.
That's how math
Okay,
works.
episode
Yes.
8.
Yeah, 8.
Oh,
I
Okay.
think episode 8.
Dre, what do you think?
You suck.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 6. I'm gonna go next episode.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
want him to show up in 6, but when do you think though?
Yeah.
Oh, 7.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I think last episode he shows up.
7 big dog.
Marcus, what do you got?
I want to see him either in the next episode or episode after, but I think we'll see it in 8 and I'm going to get pissed off because of it.
Nah,
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Sonny, what do you think?
Because you wasted my time.
I
Dude, it's gonna be episode 8.
want it
Yeah.
to be the next 3 episodes.
I didn't make you watch
But
it.
I do think it's going to be the last. I would like to get Thrawn and Ezra in both the next 3, but why are you looking at me like that?
Because
I would hope that he's in all 3 of the last episodes.
Of the next 3?
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. You just
What did he
he's
say?
arguing semantics.
Yeah, semantics.
Funny math.
Yeah,
Episode 8 for me.
All right.
That's
Paul.
what I said. You going to jump on him, Sonny?
yeah.
It's his birthday.
No, it's his birthday. I have to
Happy
skip
birthday,
everything.
Austin.
You can skip Paul. It's Frank.
Yeah, all right, cool.
It's just the formula of the whole
Episode
thing.
6. I think we see them both in episode 6.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be like some type of backstory or something. Like, what happened?
All right.
You know?
Right.
Okay, you can say
I
it.
want to see them in 6. I do not think we'll see them until the end of 8.
Right.
I hope
That's
we're
just
all
the
wrong.
that's just the track
Me
record.
too,
That's
Dre,
like
me
the
too.
Disney.
They're
That's just
gonna-
like
they're
that.
gonna
That's that
wrong
Disney
because-
Plus like formula at this point. Look what they did with Moon Knight.
They're
Moon
probably
Knight
gonna do
wasn't
another
interesting until the
season.
last
They're probably
episode.
gonna try to do another season. I think that's why we're going to see him in
We're all doing
episode
the
8 at the
thumbs.
end.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Mac,
What
did you have something real quick you were saying?
There's
Sorry.
a couple other parts.
Yeah, there was 2 little pieces after I give you guys what I think. So I think I would hope that they were both going to appear in episode 6, but I think we're gonna get them before 8, or at least that's the
Fingers
highest
crossed.
hopes.
Right.
If I had to guess, I think we're gonna get Thrawn in the next episode, but I think they're gonna hold Ezra off for another episode,
Okay.
just to kind of make it feel like. Because if you throw them in both in the next episode, or if you wait for both of them and hold them back until episode 8, then either going into episode 8, everybody knows what to expect already, or if you give them to us both in episode 6, then do you really have any kind of real big firepower? I mean, they might have a crazy series finale
Yeah, Mando's
planned,
coming.
and we're just all oblivious to it right now. But I would hope that they kind of save a little bit of the juju, so to speak, or the firepower for one of the other episodes and divide it where we get Thrawn in the next one and all of his posse is finding him. And then maybe Ahsoka has to do a little bit more searching when she arrives with the Purrgil, and we get Ezra in 7, and we get some kind of climactic cool ending in episode 8.
I love it.
That sounds cool. Yeah, that sounds like a good. I would roll with that. Yeah.
Cool.
Then I've got a comics thing. I always feel like I have to shout this out whenever I'm on a show or whenever I'm talking with other comic heads, because I just don't hear anybody talk about this series anymore. But I'm telling you what, if Netflix does it right, Something's Killing the Children is going to be nuts. And the whole House of Slaughter universe, I've been reading up on all my House of Slaughter, because a lot of people read Something's Killing the Children for those that have like stuck with it and continued through all these volumes. But a lot of people aren't reading House of Slaughter, and House of Slaughter is kind of more or less not an entire anthology series, but each arc, like the first 4 or 5 will be about one character in the greater Order of St. George, family. And then you'll have another, 5 or 6 issues that are about a different character, and so on and so forth. So I feel like House of Slaughter is really key to like giving you some of these other pieces that when this universe gets established on screen, it's going to be really, really important for you not only to have those key issues, but more so to know some of the story.
Absolutely.
It'll be kind of similar in the way of this, with Ahsoka, of like, if you've seen Clone Wars and Rebels, then it's going to mean a lot more to you, and it's going to hit harder when these characters show up.
Right.
Yeah. Mac, we really do appreciate it. Our buddy Barney from Shimpson's Comics said in the chat that he thinks it's going to be a standalone episode with just Thrawn and Ezra, and he says it's going to happen because he spoke to George Lucas and he told him.
Okay.
But we do appreciate. Yeah, he's the guy. So
the George Lucas.
Again, we appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Means a lot. You took the time. I know it's late over there in North Carolina. You're going to stay up and play video games.
North Carolina.
So
That's
we'll
a
talk to you
beautiful state.
soon. And again, appreciate it, man. Thank you for being on. We really do
so much,
appreciate
man.
it.
Talk soon,
Thank
bro.
you, brother.
Yeah, man. Good to meet you.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
It is taco or pizza time in America.
Whatever Austin wants.
Birthday
They don't have
time.
milkshakes at
The
the
birthday
Milkshake.
party for Milkshake. Guys, have a great evening. We love you. We went a little bit over.
Yeah,
Sorry,
they're
Quan.
margaritas.
We will talk to you soon. Have a great evening. And see you next week.
See you guys.
Yep.
It's a longer outro. Everybody, use your QR codes and find us back.